Are you picking your nose? I'm gonna leave that in. Gross. You. Camera 1, camera 2. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1. Okay. Action.
That's embarrassing. So, Dan here, and we're doing a new thing.
Dan, you have to do the full Dan here DD Speech Shop. People do not like it when you don't do it.
It's not Dan here DD Speech Shop.
But it's still DD Speech Shop.
No, it's Under the Lift with DD Speech Shop. That's a pretty good name.
It is very good.
So, or is it DD Speech Shop Under the Lift?
No, it's Under the Lift with DD Speech Shop. I've already done the artwork.
Oh, AI did it?
No, I did it.
So anyway, we did maybe a year ago.
Almost
what
exactly
am I looking at? There's too much going on.
This one's yours.
We did a podcast, and we did it with Murr.
You can do that one or this one. Sorry. Okay.
I can do that one?
No, this one or that one.
Anyway, I'll just look under this car. This is going to be distracting, actually.
Just watch out for the leak.
Nope, sitting right off to it. It's right here. We're good.
That's why we're not centered in the frame, if anyone's asking.
This is not visual appealing. So anyways, we did the podcast, and we did it with Murr, and I missed I missed the podcast, and I miss Murr, again. But I wanted to bring it back, because I really enjoyed it. I mean, I do a lot of wrenching on cars. We do a lot. And we want to try some different things, because it's nice, you know what, I like putting videos out, and I like, all that sort of stuff, but sometimes it's nice not to be nose deep in grinding dust for like a day.
And like mad.
I never get mad at these things. Pretty happy with them. So anyway, we're gonna bring it back. New thing. Danny's gonna be part of it. See if that works out or not. Now here, cards on the table. I want to get Murr, and I've been poking at him a little bit here and there. Now the problem was, the main reason we kind of stopped doing, there's too many cameras.
You just have 2 to worry about.
Was we moved. We moved 14-hour drive. It's like a 3-hour flight west, and which is fine. And Murr, he winters on the west coast.
Fancy. I don't know, everybody always assumes it's in Florida.
Well, it's far west to get to Florida. But anyways, so that's what they do. And so it was going to be a hassle anyways for us to kind of get together and do our thing. But we tried for a summer. We actually had, I would say, mediocre success, the standard for DD Speech Shop. Right there in the meaty part of the curve.
We had the exact amount of response that you would expect from DD Speech Shop to get.
It did good. It was just starting to kind of do better, taking off and stuff like that. And then that's when moving happened and selling cars happened, and we just ran out of time, and we kind of just let it die.
Well, we ran out of time, and we ran out of energy, and just because our whole world was just moving
so here
to
it
Alberta.
Is. Life's still crazy, but we're going to give her. And I want to try and do it. And what we actually want to try and do, again, cards on the table. We don't take on sponsors or whatever it is. We're talking what we were doing it on this here in exchange for bringing Murr out. Or if you want to donate your WestJet points.
Because there is a cost to that.
There's a cost. So you may have to listen to us, blab about either the merch, buy a shirt, buy a hat, buy whatever, and ultimately that money goes back right back in the cars, or possibly Murr. And then I don't know, we're endlessly approached by people trying to get us to read their ABC 1, 2, 3s.
And we're not going to name them now, because obviously now we want them to pay us to name them.
Which is fine. So I mean, you know what, and we want to try and do stuff, if it can be on brand would be nice. If it's stuff I actually use would be a real bonus. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I pay for, everything I pay for. But it'd be nice if we could make a few bucks and then just parlay that into father-son bonding time here and there. And then if we accomplish that, as we travel and stuff, maybe we can take this on the road or have people out or whatever. And again, if we do this, the ad reads and stuff like that can offset the travel to just hang out with people. Because I hear it already, where it's like, do a podcast with, pick your name, Cotton or Newburn or something like that. And I guarantee you they would do it. Sitting down for an hour is not the hard part. The hard part is travel, crossing borders, passports.
Well, and you have to get off work. You would have to get a dog sitter. There's a lot more than let's just do this. You have to actually kind of think it out, plan it out, logistics. Everyone's schedules have to line up.
It's a good time. Anyway, so that's kind of the plan there. We'll get the right out of the way and carry on. So if you hear me reading about something down the road, we had some fun. I actually enjoyed it. We had a couple of sponsors in the last podcast, and it was ridiculous and a good time and stuff like that. But reading about boner pills to your old man, there's something there that just getting the bond that much closer, eh?
Indeed.
But anyway, so that's that. The next thing I guess we want to go over is Power Tour. So, this is not the car we were building for Power Tour. It's outside, but. We were building a car for Power Tour, and then life kind of happened. We fell short on parts, and honestly, we're back to dollars. I feel like maybe I'm just complaining here, but that doesn't sound like me at all. We were gonna head out, and the realities of it is now we're even farther away. Moving out west, it's like 2 more days at least of hotel stay, 2 or 3 more days at least of dog sitter, all that sort of stuff. And the real thing is our Canadian dollar ain't so strong. And unfortunately, when you're out there, I mean, and I get it, everyone's got to make a buck, but the Holiday Inn, Comfort Inns of the world, they know Power Tour's in town, and they skyrocket the prices for like one day. It's cool if you look at like Monday's like $99, Tuesday $379, Wednesday $99. You're like, ooh.
And the other thing that's frustrating with that too is lots of times and if you've ever been on the Power Tour Facebook page, you'll see that people are constantly complaining that they're getting a call saying their room has been canceled. So they oversell it all the time when you pre-book.
That happened to us, yeah.
So it happened to us our first year. That's actually how we ended up meeting like Derek and Jessica, was because we were at like the same hotel place. Our room got canceled. I don't think they had a room. And then they found hotel rooms and was like, there's an extra one there if you want to go stay at that one.
They took us out for steak dinner. It worked out pretty good that night, actually. But so anyway, the realities of it boils down to a base model hotel room ends up costing us on Power. Unless you go, I mean, you could do all sorts of things, camping and all that. We're not those people.
We've had to sleep in the car on every Power Tour, and it is always awful. I don't like it.
It's not that bad.
I am not made for camping. I don't want to camp.
But one night it was raining.
One night was raining. And then the other night was the night of the like murder hotel, Econo Lodge or whatever, where...
Yeah, so we paid for a hotel and still slept in
We
the
paid
car.
for the hotel. It was $60. Slept in the car. But when we were checking in, it was like 1 a.m. We're so tired. And that was when we were towing the Bricklin back. On the Nomad, so we're exhausted, and the lady's chatting away with us, and she goes, oh, just so you know, not all the phones work in the hotel rooms, but we don't know which ones don't work. And then she was like, oh, my boyfriend really like your cars, I should have him come by and see them at 1 a.m. And she's talking away about all this stuff, and we're not paying any real attention until we're walking to the elevator, and it's like a horror movie. All the lights are flickering, and then the elevator opens, and it's one of those like opening elevators, and it just reeks of pee.
And there's a crackhead in there with a garbage bag, which I was assuming was his luggage.
It was probably everything he holds dear in the world.
But literally, the door opened. Me and Danny looked at each other. I'm not going in. The door closes, and we walked out the back exit.
Yeah, because we didn't want to talk to the lady again.
Just left the key, hopped in the car, and we drove down the nearest Love's and just slept there. I was like, holy moly.
And with that one was funny too, because somebody had noticed in that Nomad, in the headliner was moving. And so the whole time we were sleeping, I was like, there's a mouse in this car. And we're sleeping with a mouse in this car.
There was no mouse in that
I'm pretty sure there was a mouse in that car.
Oh my God.
I'm convinced.
If there's a mouse in there, it was dead, because that thing had been in the garage forever. It was fine. Anyway, so we missed Power Tour. And it was a real bummer, I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna try and do some better saving and stuff like that, I guess. It's been an expensive year, moving and buying stuff, and I mean, you know, I don't wanna complain too bad, because it's been great. We have a way better shop, cool cars, we're fitting in out west here, and we're having a great time. I love every minute of it, but I mean, those of you who have moved, clear across country, it's a big thing. We're still going back and forth. We still have a home in Manitoba, which we actually just last weekend spent 2 full days clearing out, and like it just...
What were we clearing out? It wasn't my stuff.
20 years of car parts.
Weren't my car parts.
3 loads of scrap, unfortunately, and a 20-yard bin of stuff.
It was crazy. Did we take any pictures of that bin? I didn't take a picture of it. We should have, because it was like...
Yeah, it was very sad.
full.
The problem is, I felt so guilty because there were so many good parts in there that I've collected over the years and stuff. And like, here's a perfect example of it. When I was 17, I had a 72 Le Mans, put disc brakes in the front, and at the time it was, I think we had to go find them. Like, me and Murr went and got them off someone else, put them on there. Like, it wasn't just, the Speedway disc brake kit. I'm sure they had it at the time, but Mrs. Murr was involved in the situation. So it was, no, we're out in some wrecker pulling disc brakes off something, like a Monte Carlo, and put it on there. And I had that thing I spent more time working on it before I racked it up. And I hit into a telephone pole. Murr told that story, I think.
Yes.
Anyway, when that happened, Murr took it to his shop at work, and when he was still working, and he stripped the thing, so like the fenders, the hood, and all that stuff was still good. The motor and transmission, I actually sold that motor and transmission to Mike, and then I bought the motor and transmission back from Mike.
Good for Mike.
And I don't know what I did with it. He never put it in anything. But anyways, did that, sold all the sheet metal off of it that wasn't wrecked, scrapped the rest, took the wheels and tires. Actually, the exhaust from that thing, I think, ended up on my Monte Carlo at the time. Like, just everything got recycled because it was all the same. And I kept the front disc brake setup, which is all brand new brakes, spindle and stuff, so that's heavy to move around. So Murr had it for a bit, it was in his shed, then I took it and had it in my basement, and then it was just like 20 years later, I'm like, wow, brand new.
That was in the basement?
I threw them out, yeah, just this last weekend. So from 17-year-old Dan, so we're talking 22 years later, I finally threw it out.
That's wild.
They were good parts. I wish I could have given it to somebody. I had stuff up for free on Facebook. I sold stuff, kind of fire sale, whatever. But I got to say, the Facebook is not how you want to spend your time. When you're only there for 2 or 3 days, you got the bin rental, you got these, like, you don't have time.
But you're doing so much stuff, and so like people and that's always how it is as Facebook people, especially I find when you're selling tools or parts and stuff, because people want to know, well, what were you using it for? What was it on? And so there is, which is fine, but then there's all this like extra like half an hour of dialogue that when you're only there for 2 days and you still have other obligations you have to do, like we had to see your parents and my parents.
Yeah, we were there for Father's Day, that's why we went down. So we went for the weekend, a couple days of work.
We just didn't have the time to make it worth selling.
I feel bad. I threw out, doors and stuff like that. And
we did though, so our backyard was a jungle, as many of you have seen, but it was like extra jungly now since there was no one taking care of it. So we found these guys to come and take care of it for us, and we actually ended up giving them a bunch of tools and everything. They were like young guys starting a lawn business kind of thing, so we gave them a bunch of tools and everything just because that way they're not being thrown out, but we also weren't going to use them or bring them
you never know
all the way here.
When a landscaper needs a radial arm saw.
I'm sure that guy's going to find a use to it.
So anyways, we got all that. And a lot of stuff went to whatever. We've been back and forth. Well, I've been back and forth.
I've only been back and forth twice.
A zillion times. Once or twice a month. But I probably drove back 4 or 5 full truckloads, trailer, cars, full of parts. So I took the good stuff. What was left was pretty down the bottom of the barrel, like some of my last Tri-5 stuff. I had all sorts of 4-door trim and everything. I'm like, what am I doing with this? I tossed all that, and it was pretty. Actually, just today, the guy came and got the last of whatever. I wasn't going to move out of the basement. We paid him to take it to the dump, so that was all taken care of. How did we get on that topic?
I have no idea.
So we didn't go to Power Tour.
But we did go to Winnipeg.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Power Tour. We missed it. I gotta say I had a little bit of
it was about moving clear across the country.
Oh, yeah.
Having stuff. That's where it went.
Whatever. I'm not good with my time and I'm terrible with my money.
Well, apparently part of being an adult is actually trying to be like fiscally responsible.
Yeah. Come on. I don't have a savings account. This is what it is. Which worked out when we moved.
Yes,
I had
it
no
absolutely
money.
did.
We sold everything and had money, so there you go. But the scrap man pays, whatever it is a ton. So anyway, Power Tour, we want to go again. Being on the East Coast, we're on the West Coast now, it's a long drive. It was 36 hours or 30.
Yeah.
One way, 34 hours, 32 hours.
The other part with that drive is because we so rarely go into the States, and I'm really slouching here, holy gosh. Then we want to go and like have a chance to like stop in and see friends and people and stuff, right? So whenever we book those trips, we also add like 3 extra days bookended as well. So a 2-week trip is suddenly a 3-week trip, and you have a job.
Well, it always turns out when we did it before, it was Power Tour's 5 days, Monday to Friday, and we did it in 10, and that was, well, I guess when we did Cruising the Coast, I drove 2 days straight, you flew in because you couldn't get the time off work, and then coming home, like for Power Tour, whatever, same thing, we drove from Georgia non-stop to Winnipeg. That was, we drove, we slept in that sketchy, what we passed that was when we came home. We picked up the Bricklin, we carried on.
We did sleep at a Holiday Inn for 4 hours.
Yeah, in the middle of the day. Just have a little nap and
Which
shower.
I'm pretty sure they thought that it was unsavory things happening. Because I called, I was just like, do you have any early check-ins available at like 1 o'clock? And she's like, yeah, I can do that. I'm like, cool, we're gonna be there, but we're also checking out at like 6. And she's like, huh.
Yeah, so we show up, clapped out.
Just dirty, smelly.
Clapped out Nomad. Yeah, the Bricklin in tow. That was after we slept all, whatever, it wasn't even all night. It was a few hours in the parking lot. Parked there, just tore it. The whole parking lot was a disaster because of all this stuff. Went in, we ate a pile of Chinese food.
No, we got a bunch of Mexican food.
Oh, that was Mexican?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because Mexican food in the States is way better than in Canada.
Yeah, it's not taco time. So anyways, yeah, we do that. We piled back a bunch of Mexican, fell asleep for like 3-4 hours.
Had showers.
Woke up, had showers, and then drove all night until we got home the next day. Yeah. Good times. So that's the part, that's what we were actually talking about with Power Tour a little bit. It's when you see the videos of it, it's like all glamorous and this and that. And you know what? If you maybe live in one of those towns or whatever it is, maybe it is pretty glamorous because you know, you're not living out of your car for 10 days or whatever. But anyways, it was gonna be 2 weeks for us now, basically, or if we want to take a couple of days
At least,
and visit some people. So 2 weeks. So that's 2 weeks of hotels, 2 weeks of fuel, you know, which, whatever, those are what they are. Food, you got to eat anyways, but it's time off, paying the dog sitter, because we got 2 Great Danes, and I do not believe in dropping them off at a shelter, or what's it called?
A shelter. Boarding.
Yeah, so we pay
Well, and that was the other thing too. So with Gertie, the timing was not great because she was ready for us to get her at the end of May. But then we were going to be leaving for Power Tour, and I just didn't know how the dogs were going to get along. And so that was another thing that was hard, was because we were then going to pick her up after Power Tour, but then we were going to miss like a whole month of Great Dane puppy. And a whole month of Great Dane puppy, like she doubled in size. And we would have missed that, and I would have been very sad. And then I feel like she wouldn't have loved us as much. Like I feel like she would have been like, who are these strangers now taking me from where I think I'm living for forever?
So really it was, I couldn't get the back brakes working on the Nomad, but ultimately I just wanted to hug a puppy. I'm man enough to admit it. That little dog, I love that stupid dog. So we've had, well, I had a dog before I met Danielle or whatever, and that was my dog, Blue. And he was cool and he's chill and whatever. And then every dog we've had since, we're on Gert's number 4, I guess.
Yeah.
But the first 3, they were Danny's dogs, and I was just second fiddle, and with old Gert there.
I will say I think your Gert's human.
I might just be this much further ahead, but
yeah.
She chews Danny's stuff, screws up her stuff, she sleeps on my side of the bed.
Well, she chews your cowboy boots too, but she has chewed more of my stuff for sure.
Yes. So anyways, and that was right from day one. She liked sitting with me and everything, so we stayed home. So there you go. We're talking about maybe doing Power Tour West. I don't want to jinx it because it is what it is. But at this point, this is coming out pretty much right away. How are you doing this?
Yeah.
So whatever. This is end of June-ish, where we're at right now. So at this point now, we have this 55, which you guys haven't even seen one thing of it done yet. But I will say, I just...
Yeah, I guess they're going to see that it's been on Facebook though, that it's a 2-door.
But like literally, I just torqued the wheels for like did a nut and bolt check on it, and we took it out for dinner last night, and now we'll take it out again today. So this is like been thrashing on this for the last 10 or so days. So these videos will come out a little bit later. Actually, that's a good topic. People don't understand that the videos have to be after I've done the work, and Danny has to edit them and stuff like that. So we try and run 2-ish weeks ahead, I guess is the word for it. So we're not, I know a lot of YouTube channels talk about it and this and that, but since Danny went doing this, the editing and all that, it's taken so much off my plate. It's been fantastic. Best 35 cents an hour I've ever spent. But, so anyways, she edits the videos. She obviously is filming and all these things. And I know some people maybe preferred the other way. It was just me in there and this and that or whatever, my style of doing it, but I don't care.
But you guys can suck it.
It's so much easier. I'm in the garage with someone. It's much more fun for myself and I'll have way more motive out here.
Oh, that's nice.
Not always you. I might get Murr out here to hold the camera. He can hold his thumb over the lens and just
Still
old man
nice.
it,
Said
hold
it.
it sideways. But anyway, so she does the editing and all that sort of stuff. It's allowed us to. I'm working more now, day job, than I've ever worked, whatever. But we're further ahead on YouTube, believe it or not, which is fantastic. So that being said, we try and be 2, if even 3 weeks ahead if we can, if we're real lucky, depending on how things go. And sometimes when you do stuff like a 2-door conversion, a perfect example, I can do a lot of work, but you gotta break it up into videos so we can actually get a week ahead, like real quick, which is super fantastic.
Well, and when these videos come out, they are going to be every day. They're back to back.
Oh, okay. But it also then allows us, because we took 5 days off to go to Winnipeg, and we didn't film anything, so then you kind of fall behind. But anyways, I understand that, and I don't want to do it where it's like we're posting on Facebook or Instagram in line with
Only
the
what's
video.
relevant to the video.
I like when that's kind of right up to date. I don't know where you guys are out there. You can obviously let me know, but I think that's like this is what I'm doing today.
You can let us know, but we won't follow it.
Yeah, but just so everyone's aware, here's what I'm doing today. I like to, that's how I use Facebook and Instagram or whatever, and I guess even TikTok. Just here's what just happened. What are you guys up to today? And it's kind of nice to go back and forth. My favorite thing is I did it today, Sunday, where it's here's what I'm working on or whatever, and then so what are you guys doing? And the comments flood in, this is what I'm doing, this and that. It's just cool because I know we're all car guys, and I assume most of us have Sunday off, and that's you screw around in the garage, which is kind of cool. So I like doing that versus here's what I was doing 3 weeks ago. Let's schedule it to come out on a Sunday.
Well, then you're not excited about it anymore. Like
It's really unauthentic.
Yes. And I mean, I get the argument there then could be like, well, then the videos aren't authentic if they're not that same day. I don't know if you know this, but like we are the only 2 employees at DD Speed Shop. So we do everything. So there's just honestly not the time between my Pilates, my paddleboarding, all my workouts, playing with the dogs, to like edit
Danny's
every
a
single thing every 5 minutes.
lifestyle influencer, if you didn't notice it by now. But anyway, so that's how we do it there. And you know, what I miss, when I was right up to date, there was many days where I'd be editing the video that night for it to go up the next day. It's super stressful. Ultimately, that's what, I'm sure it must happen. You don't even tell me about it, but the thing isn't render.
I do not.
The video isn't render right, or the sound was wrong, or you gotta screw around and make it look good.
It's
and,
very panic inducing.
Yes.
And I keep it to myself.
But now, if you're 2 weeks ahead, you can be okay, I'll deal with this tomorrow.
Yes.
And it's just like working on a car. If you have to get that bolt out, you'll spend all night on it. But if you go inside, have a Coke, watch some TV, and come back tomorrow, it like falls out.
Well, and
I assume, anyways.
there are things sometimes, even just with YouTube, and I'm sure other people have experienced this, where you upload a video, you check everything, and then for some reason, suddenly all of a sudden the ads are off. Even though I've checked it, they're on. So every day when we have a video going out, I always double check that it's...
Jam those ads down their throat.
I always just double check the ads are in there, because sometimes they go away or whatever, or like the tags will have disappeared. Just funny things happen, right? So you do sort of have to still be on top of it, but this way, by being ahead, we do have the time that when that stuff does happen, yeah, you're not under the gun to fix it like immediately, and then you're canceling your plans or you're not doing stuff because you have to like only do that. I will say, one of the things that I have enjoyed about us working more together now is that not only are we, I guess, working on cars together, but we actually have more like quality time not doing cars together, because I've taken that bit away from you. Before, our quality time was us sitting on the couch where you were editing. Now we are both sitting on the couch together, cuddling the dogs.
I've said it 1,000 times before, and it seems, I think it holds true, and now we split the load. But the rule of thumb used to be 1 minute of video took 1 hour of work, if you want to call it that. So I got to come out here, cut, grind, weld, do whatever it is. You put, let's say, 10 hours or 15 hours in, and then you got to download the footage, edit it, time lapse it, songs, upload it,
Well, that
render
includes running out to get parts or running around doing this and that.
So it's one of those things where you can easily have, half an hour or 30 hours into a half-hour video, give or take. Well, now, the only work I put in is what I'm physically wrenching on the car, which is fantastic. I love that so much. And then ultimately the next day you do whatever and stuff. Because even just moving the footage over takes time, and the rendering takes time, and the uploading takes time.
And there's some days, like there are some weekends where we've filmed like 4 or 5 videos in a weekend just because everything was working out, boom, 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 super good. But then when you have all of that footage, keeping track of what was what and what was happening in what, and like that I find is when I get the most overwhelmed, when there's like 100 clips from a weekend that I, on a Monday, literally spend all day organizing and going through.
Yeah, that doesn't concern me anymore. I love it. Speaking of sponsorship.
Hey, nice shirt.
No, I was going to say this Wildfire lift.
Oh.
You guys should go thank that brand. Wildfire. This lift has been just fantastic. It's underneath. I haven't spent a lot of time looking at it, but it's it's pretty nice there.
It's a good unit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, buy a shirt.
DDSpeechUp.ca.
Yeah, Danny's got shirts, gloves. You know what? It's now this is going to sound so back to the sponsorship thing. Talk right to the camera here. These are gloves. Those are the exact gloves that I buy. I used to buy them, I still do, non-labeled, so Danny found them.
Yes, I went to the manufacturer and got them.
Yeah, so I used to buy them like retail. They're my favorite gloves, so Danny then put our little thing on it. And then the muffs, same thing. Those are the muffs, those are my favorite style of muff. And she went and got those too, so.
And I'm selling them at affordable, reasonable prices.
It's not really my department. I have no part of that whatsoever. And then t-shirts, I wear t-shirts. So there you go, everything we're doing is all legit.
The t-shirts, I wear t-shirts.
I do wear black t-shirts. I wear a lot of them. What else are we gonna talk about? We got through the power tour. We should probably clickbait it, something like that about the end of power tour or whatever.
Like we'll never go on another power tour?
I don't want to get off on it there. I was a little iffy on power tour with all the stuff that went down with Motor Trend and Hot Rod and all. I didn't know how it was gonna go, but it seems like everyone's kind of, I guess, past it or whatever, so.
Yeah.
We'll see. It was weird. All my buddies got canned from their jobs, so I didn't know how it was gonna go, but they seemed like they had a good time.
Well, and they all went and they had a good time.
Yeah, so maybe I'm just being a stick in the mud and I should go.
I think it's just one of those things where you hate to see people who are doing really well, all of a sudden, like this big conglomerate just goes, okay, bye. And then it's a weird thing when all these people are still supporting, like, not that conglomerate, but like another half of that conglomerate.
Like the reality is that's just TV though, right?
Yeah.
Stuff just ends. And we just have no concept of that because we just keep putting YouTube videos out.
Because we're not TV.
Not yet. Channel 4, we're coming for it.
Yeah, what in Canada we have like local TV channels.
PBS.
Is PBS still a thing?
We should be on it if it's not. There you go. So that's where we're gonna do that. We're gonna try and keep these kind of short. You know where we're at. We should have time clocked it.
Yeah, we're not time clocking this at all.
Is there a clock on there?
I don't know. I can't see.
Your eyes are too old. That'll happen.
Well, the writing's very tiny.
So anyways, that's the plan we're going to do here.
It's been 28 minutes.
No, perfect. We're going to try and keep these like a 45-minute type thing, give or take.
Well, like between 20 and 45. It sort of just depends on the day.
Well, it's 28 minutes already. But again, we can do these once a week. This is a good point for you guys to have comments to put in as to what we want to see us do or talk about or do whatever. I'd like to, we used to do it when we drove around. I really enjoyed that. So I'd like to get back to doing that one. And I'd like to go visit some people and stuff. Actually, if you're in the Calgary or surrounding area, and either you or you know someone who's kind of cool and stuff like that, and likes hot rods or something we can look at or do whatever, I'd like to do that as well. Again, right back in Manitoba, we had Murder all the time, which was fantastic.
We knew people.
Now we started having a pretty good relationship with like John and Cecil and all that. We could talk. Like those guys work on like literally one of the fastest drag and drive cars in the world. And
people were pretty impressed. They heard your voice on Tom Bailey's video.
Yeah, I had a whole Dan here DD speech up, and he axed that right out. Tom Bailey. But yeah. Anyways, it was a good
You know
time.
what though? I kind of liked it better this way. You were like on the GoPro, but see, we still have cameras going. It just needs to cool down a few moments.
Take a minute for that and come back to it. But anyway, so back in
After the stop, we will.
yeah, but after the stop. It's not with Dan. But so anyways, until we had those things where we could like hanging out with, John Cecil, doing a video with them. That would have been super cool. Other people around there we kind of knew. We could, talk about stuff. I kind of did it before with my drive shaft guy or whatever. We could have done stuff with the motor guy. There's all sorts of stuff we could have kind of done.
And we probably, when we go back now, we should actually be able to go back with time to like see people.
So that's the plan now. We're going to go back probably in the next couple of weeks. I'll be driving back. And that yellow Nova, I'm going to bring that back because now it's been sorted, and that'll be Manitoba hot rod. So that and probably the black Nomad. I'd like to get that going. Actually, I'm going to order a carburetor and intake for it because somebody stole it.
Yourself.
I want another Nomad, so it's kind of like two negatives make a positive situation. But anyway, so that's the plan there. There we're going to have Danny's Caprice as like a daily driver, the Nova, the Nomad, and I'd like to get that 79 Ford.
I forgot about that truck. I love that truck.
Cool. And at some point, maybe this winter, we'll bring your 57 here to work on and get it all dialed.
That'd be nice.
And Alberta ready. But we're getting there, actually. I was just telling Danny today, we're kind of, even though there's lots of videos going, we're getting to the point now, or another month from now, all these kind of fiddly things we done that we can start doing, like working out all the kinks, the teething problems, and then really focus on the next big project.
Well, and that's going to be interesting because typically the videos that we do are just you working on cars, and then everybody goes, why don't you ever finish anything? Why isn't anything ever done? But now we're going to be in a position where like things are actually done, they're on the road, and then what are we filming?
And I have too many cars. I came to that when we actually moved, and I had almost 30 cars, and I sold 10 or 12.
And then also bought back like
but
7.
It felt very freeing, and I will say that I think I'm at a point now where doesn't have to have shiny paint, but a car that's sorted out. I'd rather have 5 or 8 of those, and then just kind of get cars together and maybe pass them on. I did that with that gray 55 I built, got it home, welded it all up. You know, kind of like the guy came, he wanted a 55 Chevy, he wanted like a greasy gas or race car, and I passed it on to him. I made a few bucks on it, but if you factor in my labor, like I didn't.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I got to work on a car, I got to make some videos, we got to meet a bunch of people, and I got the thrill of the hunt, which is all I really care about, and then I could pass the car on, and I feel like, I bought a car in Saskatoon, I got to pick it up, but the same thing, it's a car that I just can put together, have some fun with, do kind of the ugly job, and show it to what it can look like, and the next guy can take it.
Well, and I think that's a good point you bring up, is that like these aren't like flipper cars. It's literally, well, but it's like project, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not model building, but
Dan's greasy flips. If you're honest with, no, you're gonna get it, I'm gonna go through it, I can show it on video, here's what it needs, here's what it doesn't need, here's maybe the parts I had, here's maybe, not that I have some big skill level, I don't like to chat myself up, but if I can get the car a little bit further along and get past some of these ugly jobs that other people are maybe a little scared of doing.
Like a floor pan
or whatever it is, and get the car so it's structurally sound, and then the next guy can go. Because realistically, metal work is very, very cheap. It's time consuming, but you're into it for welding gas, welding wire, and even if you have to buy floor pans, they're the cheapest sheet metal to buy. You can put them in there, or you can make your own and kind of carry on. But a lot of people are scared of that, don't want to do it. It's ugly work. But then brake kits, rewiring things, interior motor transmissions, all that stuff, a lot of people can do. Okay, now let's take a break. We'll let this cool off. Yep. Are we going to come back and talk about your new food idea?
Maybe.
Food and drive? Drive food?
I don't know.
Drive-through food?
Stop talking. Action. It just makes it easier for me to edit.
Okay, so we're back. Camera had to cool off there.
And I had to clean up a big pile of Great Dane poop.
These things happen.
Little puppy.
We were outside for 40 minutes, but we had a couple of things planned. We're going to skip past that because we babbled on about whatever. The other thing we're talking about doing here, and whatever, two of our favorite things put together, hot rods and food.
So honestly, kind of where this idea stems from is back in the old garage when we did lives, people somehow found out where we had lived. And we are not encouraging this, please don't do it. But they would send us like pizzas and like food and stuff. And we would eat it on the live, and it was very strange.
A lot of people liked it.
But people liked it. It was so weird.
So we got food. So anyways, we were thinking about doing something along those lines, just going to find, I mean, the other thing is we're very new to Alberta. We ended up moving here kind of in middle of September, but by the time things were settled and all that, it was already into October. And
I feel like we only just got settled like 3 months ago.
Yeah. But it was like cold and this, and we didn't have any hot rods, like, buying tools and this and that, and money was going out like crazy. But now, like, things are settling out. And we didn't do a whole lot of traveling around here, so we're gonna do a couple of road trips out west, staying in Canada. But there's lots of stuff we don't know, lots of little towns and all sorts of new things. So we wanted to go take a hot rod, go do that, go check out some food, maybe film a little bit. If we can get the owner of the establishment involved, will be cherry. But we'll see what happens. If not, we'll just end up eating at the tailgate, because I don't really give a crap.
Basically what we'd like to do is we want to go around to just like different restaurants in Calgary and like outside of Calgary, like in sort of this whole little area. A, we don't know anywhere, so we want to explore it, and B, just sort of like highlight what there is here for us to do and for us to see and for other people to do and see. So if you know any restaurants that we should be going to and reaching out, basically we just want to go in, we want to maybe talk to the owner and the chef or whoever is there and like find out their story and what they're up to. And then we want to pay to eat some food because we like foods.
Yeah, and do a little drive around.
And just do a little drive around, and that's like super simple. But
nice little Sunday.
Yeah, but if you know restaurants or if you have recommendations of places we should go, please comment them below so that I can reach out to them. Or like I said, if you guys know like owners of restaurants or something in like the Calgary and surrounding areas that you think we should go visit, send me, like tell them to send me an email, and we would just love to go and visit and hang out for like an hour or two on an afternoon.
And ultimately, I built these things, so there'll probably be a lot of wrenching. Fixing them.
You know what though? All of the cars you have built that we have done long road trips in, we haven't had any real issues.
No, that's actually a video I want to go over, because people have asked about power tool or whatever it may be, and I did it. We'll end on this note. We have enough information, but when the first year we did power tour, I brought so many tools.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy.
And the second year I still brought a lot of tools. And now I'm at the point where
cruising the coast, you didn't hardly bring any tools.
I brought nothing. Yeah, I really didn't care. Because at the end of the day, the time for wrenching is before you go. I mean, if you want to roadkill the thing, that's on you, by all means. You know, Vice Grip and all those guys, they love the punishment, I guess, of working on the side of the road, on the side of the highway, and paying a premium for tools and parts and trying to just make stuff work. I don't enjoy that. That's not my style of stuff. I guess it's a different kind of entertainment. For me, I don't like the stress or the whatever it is, mental burden of not knowing what's going on. I like going through the car front to back mechanically, not so much shiny paint wise, but mechanically the cars are kind of taken care of. And then like you said here, this is stuff we don't even usually film, just nut and bolt check the whole thing, make sure there's cotter pins in it, you know, torque everything down. It's good to go. Put 500 miles on it, we'll give it one more. Don't sneeze.
Oh, that was a big one. And I think it was spitty. Oh, gross.
If anybody had a shirt in their car on the website, they just deleted it. But anyway. So,
unfortunately, I do sneeze like my father.
All right. That was weird.
It's just like a big sneeze.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's not like a achoo.
Yeah. So anyway, I think the time for going over the car is right now. And then I think the only thing you should really be dealing with on a road trip is stuff like, you know, a chafed wire or a fuel line maybe rubbed against something, or a transmission. Gaskets? Like leaks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you might find leaks and stuff like that, but kind of so be it. But typically those things, you know, the brakes, the suspension, all that sort of stuff should have been kind of gone through. Hey, maybe a muffler, hanger brakes or something like that. I get that. Those are kind of whatever. So I bring pretty minimal tools now. I mean, you know, a couple chunks of wire, some, you know, wire nuts or you know, crimp connectors, stuff like that. A Leatherman goes a long way. A couple pairs of vice grips, pliers, side cutters, you know, a knife, kind of stuff like a hammer. The big thing we bring is like, I have a bunch of them actually here, but like a small floor jack with jack stands, a block of wood. Flashlights handy, you know, a set of screwdrivers.
You can actually get these really cute DD Speed Shop magnet flashlights at ddspeedshop.ca.
Really? Maybe I can get one of those. But anyway, so stuff like that. I used to bring like electric power tools and this and that, but I'm past that. And what I've come to with, typically if you need a grinder, a drill, a this or that, A, someone around you might have it, because someone else is suckering overpacked, if you're, especially going like power tour. B, go buy one. I mean, like Harbor Freight, Princess Auto, whatever, you're gonna buy it, and you're probably gonna use it, and you're gonna give it to the next guy, because it's not worth taking home. Like, whatever, it is what it is. And then the third thing, if you're to the point where the motor or the transmission or something that has hemorrhaged, you got a set of problems anyways. There ain't no tools you're bringing there. Well, I mean, if you're driving around with a trailer with an engine crane, a spare small block Chevy or whatever to go through power tour, that's not, you've missed it. These cars here, I mean, I know I've done it all. Now working on a lift is very nice with all the power tools and this and that. I've also built cars in the driveway. So in the driveway is no different than a parking lot as far as I'm concerned. You know, maybe a pop-up tent would be nice to have for some shade. That's the only thing I've been thinking about lately. But realistically, you can kind of fix everything. One of those universal, you know, socket and wrench kits, a couple pairs of pliers, vice grips, screwdrivers, miscellaneous chunks of wire, some fuel line, hose clamps, like you're probably okay. Usually, again, knock on wood, when cars are, there's a big difference between broken down and breaking down. And if you're breaking down, you can usually make it to an auto parts store, hardware store, somewhere like that for help. If you're straight broke down, it is what it is. But I also think if you're broke down, you call a tow truck, $150 later, you're in an O'Reilly's or whatever it is parking lot, and you're wrenching away, and they got everything you need. That's kind of the end of it like that. So I don't think, you know, for what you're doing, taking all that stuff, loading all up. The first year, the car was packed, everything was packed. You want to take anything out, it was a nightmare. And now, going into the hotel, you know, we're bringing power tools in and this and that. Now I literally actually just got, I have like a standard red toolbox. It's all rusted out and stuff like that. I'm filling that and that's it. I'll do that. I'll have another bag of like miscellaneous nuts, bolts, you know, washers, chunks of wire. That's all we're bringing.
That's where those pack out kits are good, actually.
Yeah.
Because they stack on top of each other. Lots of times you can get ones with like a handle and a wheel, and then you can just wheel that into the hotel room.
There's so many things you can do. I mean, I've done it lots now too, and you're looking at it like the whole car is a bit of a parts store. There's a lot of extra bolts in here you can take off and use somewhere else. Or
You don't
do
need
whatever.
all the lug nuts.
You don't need all the lug nuts.
No, you do. Put the lug nuts on.
But if you're driving down, just throwing it out there, if you're driving down the road and you blow all the lug nuts off or whatever, and the studs aren't screwed up, one lug nut off each of the other ones, putting on there, and you're carrying on to the auto parts store. Like, it's not the end of the world. You don't have to have a pack of lugs or whatever. So, you know, a few little things I've had which are nice, exhaust gaskets, header gaskets, and collector gaskets. A few of those are always nice, just because going to the auto parts store is a bit of a hassle, and you can just literally, you know, reach under there, change a gasket.
They're also very thin, so they're not a big deal to carry. And no one's really gonna steal exhaust gaskets out of your car.
No, but I mean, there's just an exhaust gasket and intake manifold gasket. I don't think you need that.
Well, and you've taken like a spare rear end before.
I took a center section.
Yeah.
But that was the first year. I don't know how I feel about that, because the stock Tri-5 center section is hard to find. So if it did let go, we would have been in a situation. That's the only thing I would bring now going forward, is stuff that you can't buy easily. So I learned a lot. We were going to do that EFI, which we own away from that. So now I'm a believer in Chevy motors, but I mean Ford, Dodge, whatever, they're all the same. But like a small block Chevy with a Holley 4-barrel and an HEI and a set of headers. And I mean, I'll toss maybe a spare water pump, distributor, and alternator. And actually the one year we were taking your Chevy 2, I put a brand new alternator in the thing, and I had a spare alternator in the trunk, and we were doing it was the night before I left.
The last test drive.
We're going for a whatever, and all of a sudden, alternator lets go on the side of the road, and it didn't just let go, the back bearing fell out, and it jammed everything up, so it tossed the belt and did all sorts of things. So on the side of the road, I had an alternator, I put it in, this is in Winnipeg, so it was no big deal. Slammed an alternator in there, put it back on, and we were carrying on. It was no big deal. Spare belt, little things like that. So that's kind of how I look at those things. Like, this thing's got a 10-bolt rear end in it. That's nice. You can fix that anywhere. You can go to your local. Every town has some sort of a, you know, manual transmission rear end shop. They can fix it. You know, a turbo 350 transmission, anybody has that. You can get that taken care of. The one-offs, if you're driving something really unique or whatever it may be, you may want to bring some parts here.
Well, that's a good point. Unique stuff is very cool, but if it fails on you, it's going to be difficult.
And it's one of those things where, I mean, if a Tri-5 rear end lets go, guaranteed, there's a guy like me, I literally have one on the ground right now, I'm trying to give it away for free on Facebook, no one wants it yet. But you could probably put a the bat signal out and be like, I need a center section or I need an axle for a Tri-5 Chevy, somebody's gonna have it. But now you're working with what I have, which is, that's the rear end that was out of that blue Nomad, original. Who knows what's been happening there? That thing sat, we were playing with it today, it had paper from 1988. So at the very newest, someone put an axle in there with a new bearing in it in 1988. So now you're dealing with something that's who knows how old, you're putting it back together, you do all that work to make it a couple hundred miles, or you make it at home, which if you can buy something brand new, might be a little easier. Like this thing, anything you need, we can get. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it.
There you go.
So thank you so much for watching, listening.
And listening.
Watching and listening. Is this going on like Apple Music?
Yeah, it's going to be on all the things still. Under the same, you can just search DD Speed Shop on Spotify and Apple and it should pop up.
So feel free to let us know what you think, as long as they're positive comments. I don't want any negativity in my life. And if you have any, if you're someone who wants me to read anything, like Will Ferrell on Anchorman, I'll read it in exchange for money. But no, because I want to bring Mur down here, and we want to try and get that happening or whatever.
Well, Mur and other people too. Like, we want to see what we can accomplish.
Yeah, I don't really like anybody else. Newburn's okay, but a bit of a trailer guy. But anyway, that's where we're going to leave it there. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for listening.
Anything else you want to say?
Nope.
Yeah, give us some advice. What do you want us to talk about? Because otherwise, I have no trouble babbling for 45 minutes. Wait, so we gotta switch cars around and go out for dinner. This thing's taking us out tonight. It is leaking from everywhere, eh?
I told you that yesterday when it leaked on my hair, and you were like, no, it's not.
No, I said, if it leaked on you, don't keep standing there.
And then I moved.
And then you didn't get leaked on.
That's right.
We're talking the same thing.
Okay, bye.
Bye.